Alright guys, here it is. I do not know what year this 318 is, but it's actually not stuck. It was in dry storage for a long time, like 15-20 years, 15 for sure. I know nothing about it. So I initially thought that it was stuck because I couldn't move the crank by hand, but literally one little movement with my my breaker bar, it didn't even hesitate, it just started turning. So okay, not to mention it was sitting on the crank pulley when I tried. So let's take a look and see if we can see what year this engine is. Yeah. Oh, we got some numbers showing up. Alright, that is the passenger side. That's the casting number. And 318 something something. That's on the driver's side, sorry. Let's go to the passenger side where the date code is. You know, out of all of my engine stands that I have, which is like 6, I haven't had one yet that the hole in the engine stand is drilled perfectly down through to center the engine when it's on the stand. Okay. Okay. Alright, that's the number we're looking for right there, 1979. So this is a 1979 360 out of a truck. It could have been the same basic engine that came out of Brooks 79 stepside, or 79 Dodge lunch truck. And I don't know. Oh, I've been burned, man. Been burned a lot. So you know, you got a buddy of a buddy that's, oh yeah, I got a good engine, and you go ahead and take it, and it's not a good engine. It's happened multiple times. So I might be a little gun shy here, but you know what? Let's do the simplest part. We'll pull the oil pan off and pop a couple main bearings, pop a couple rod bearings. If that looks good, then we'll proceed to actually tearing it apart. If not, then we're already done and we don't got to worry about it. Okay, so here is the oil that's coming out of that 318, and that looks promising. It's very clear. Looks good, a little dirty from age, but not too bad. While that's draining out, I'm going to remove the accessory drive, and I'll probably just keep continuing to disassemble the engine. I'll let the oil pan drain good. First indication, this engine still had the crosshatch in it, and there's a 0.03 stamped on the tops of the pistons. So this is a reman engine. It's been machined already. The crank says 0.010. So this has been machined 10 under on the mains, and these bearings have a date of 1294. So 1994, we can say 95, this thing was rebuilt. That's not too bad, 30 years. Okay, I'm not adverse to that. I was going to be machining a crank anyway. Now let's see if they had to do the rod bearings. I'll just pick this one. But the bores looked really good. I was not unhappy at all. I don't know if they did any balance work on the engine. It looks like They got a stamping here. It says T.010 and M.010. So mains, and then T, I don't know, that it's got to be the rods, but it's odd designation. Anyway, we're going to pull this guy out right now. Oh, that looks good. Minor light scratching in there. The crank looks beautiful on that one. Pop the bearing shell out here. Cleveite 77s. $10,000 under. Is there a date on these bearings? 10 of 1998. So this thing could have been rebuilt as early as, I don't know, 1998. Alright, let's pop that piston out and see what we're working with. A handy dandy piston remover. I saw this being used on Nick's garage and I had to have one, because you come pretty close to nicking the crank journals when you're not careful. You can use rubber hose and all that jazz, but this actually gives you a spot to smack on. It's semi-rigid, so look at that. Just grind her right down. Pistons didn't fight. Pull it out of there. The rings aren't stuck. And there we have it. That is one piston and rod assembly. Soon to be a bunch. Put this guy back together. So I've had a night's sleep and some thoughts to brew on, and anyway, I came to a conclusion. This engine, this 318 here, it's machined 10 thou on the rod journals, 10 thou on the crank journals. The bearings are all in really good shape, honestly. There's a little bit of wear and tear, but for a running driving engine, very normal. And the bores look fantastic. I think what I'm going to do is actually run this short block. I haven't run a 318 in my car in years, but it's a perfectly machined engine. All the components are good that I need. I'm going to use my Edelbrock heads and my Mopar Performance camshaft. So cam lifters, push rods, heads, rocker arms, all that jazz are coming off the 340. I'm going to do a just a dingle ball hone if I can, just to clean the cylinder walls basically, and pressure wash the engine, get it ready to assemble and paint. I mean, hey, why not? The last 318 I had in this car was a 318 Magnum, and honestly, as far as 318s go, it didn't build a lot of torque, but it revved, and it revved good. And it had a pretty wild cam in it, mind you. It was my old roller cam, but it ran pretty good. So this Mopar Performance Circle Track cam will take advantage of the 318. It should have some pretty nice chop to the idle. The bigger you go in cubic inches, the more it swallows up a large cam and makes it more docile. The smaller you go in cubic inches, well, it's the opposite way. It makes them a little more rooty. And I like the exhaust tone that the 340 had with the Circle Track cam, so we are going to run that into 318. You never know. I might just like it. I might like it a whole lot, but it gives me time. time is always the thing a fella doesn't have, right? I got multiple projects on the go all the time. Money going here, money going there, money going everywhere. Money that I don't have. And so this gives me at least a couple months to source out the right parts that I want to build the 340 the way I want to build it. Now, whether I keep it a stock bore, stock stroke 340 and use forged pistons, forged rods, and get the crank machined, or find a forged crank, which they're still out there. Whether I do that or whether I just get the crank fixed, resize 3 of the connecting rods and put it back together, I don't know, but I have time now. I can relax on it and think about it. There we go. I'm going to get this engine cleaned up, get the bores done, get it outside, get it pressure washed up, and then it's going to be prepped and ready. I can lay the crank in. I have one piston that I have to free up the rings on, this guy, and it's just rust. That's all it is, rust stuck. So I'm going to soak that piston, and once it's soaked and cleaned up and the rings are all free and I'm happy with them, then I know I got a full set to go. I mean, if those rings don't want to spring back out, well, that's a whole nother deal, right? And I'll have to source out a set of piston rings for that one. But yeah, I'm pretty happy to run the stock bottom end 318. I'll have to drop the rev limiter down probably 5,500 RPM, I think. But either way, it's going to be fun. And I'll run it with the 430 gears and the 5-speed manual in the car for now. And honestly, those 430 gears make anything feel fast when you pull away with it. Longevity? Yeah, we're going to put a set of 355s in her, but because I do live in the middle of nowhere, and highway driving is a daily occurrence for me. That's her. I'll get this thing cleaned up. Alright. Here's where we're at with the 318 build. The 340 is tore down as far as we need to go. The 318 is assembled to the point where the crank is in it, front timing, camshaft is in it. I've put new frost plugs in it because they were looking a little scammy. And I did put one piston in, but I have to change the bearings. Silly boy me, using his ultrasonic cleaner for the pistons, which are in there, I forgot to take the bearings out of the connecting rods. Is it going to hurt them? I don't know. I'm only using Pine Sol, but Pine Sol is a heavy duty cleaner, and I'm not going to find out the hard way that I ruined the bearings. So I've got a set of 10 thou oversized bearings coming. They'll be here in a week-ish. So I'm held up on bearings, and I'm also held up on head gaskets of all things. I was initially just going to reuse the bearings and put it all together, and then I got looking for head gaskets. In my stash I have one good head gasket, and it's for a 360 that's bored out. Or a 340 that's bored out. It's got a 4.1 inch bore on the head gasket sealing ring, and that's just not good. That's too big. The 318 needs all the help it can get with compression. Like these are a flat top piston, as you can see, with valve reliefs, and the problem is they are still down in the hole about 40 thousandths, maybe 50. With my cylinder heads, it's going to work out to about 9.5 to 1 compression. I'm pretty happy with that. It should make decent power. This camshaft is my Mopar Performance purple shaft that I had in the 340, and I think it's going to sound a little rowdier in the 318. They always say that more cubic inches kind of soaks up a big cam, right? So I'm interested in seeing what it sounds like with the 318. I hope it's got a little more root to it. Not that there was anything wrong with the chop before, but you know. So tonight all I'm doing is I'm cleaning up my cylinder heads, And I've got all the valve train laid out. I got to clean up the intake manifold. And that's about her, but so far everything's torqued down. Everything's been decked and cleaned. Not decked, sorry. The deck surfaces have been cleaned. And I'm literally waiting for parts. I am installing the windage tray and the baffled oil pan that I made up. One little note of trivia for 318s is you need to have a different driver's side engine mount than a 340 or a 360. Chrysler decided to be clever when they produced these engine blocks and made a different mount for the one side. I can't really find an earthy reason why, because the 318 actually has a thicker webbing right here where the engine mount bolts on is actually thicker than on the 340 and the 360 by almost a quarter inch. I don't know why it needs that extra beefiness, but I'm not going to grind it all off and hope that I get it perfectly in space. I'm just going to get the proper engine mounts. And I probably have the right engine mounts, because I have had 318s in my car before, had two of them. Boy, I sure can't remember where I put them. But for 20 bucks a piece on Rock Auto, hey. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I got about a week to get parts, finish assembly, install. Item number 2 on the list is to change my oil cooler lines, because frankly I don't trust them now that a whole bunch of bearing material has gone through the engine. I'm not going to find out it's got bearing material stuck on the inner liners of these. They're brand new, but I don't care. Cheap insurance, right? And my release bearing inside the transmission right there, I need to do some adjustment on it. My clutch travel is up at the top to release almost, and that tells me that it's too close to the clutch fingers. So I've got about a quarter inch I can adjust it back. I mean, I've got it adjusted where they said to put it, so that's not a problem, but it's high. My pedal release is high, so I don't want to burn up another clutch. I've probably put 6 clutches in this car over the last 15, 18 years. Anyway, that's where we're going to be sitting right now. And overall, we're in really good shape. We're going to make this car run again. We're going to make it drive and do sideways stuff. And you're going to get to see it in the future on Days Ago Shop Works. Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate all of you.